In this video, we're going to try to explain limiting and excess reagents. So in a question where you've got limiting and excess reagents, they're going to give you a mass or a way to find the chemical amount of both reactants. And since they don't tell you which one you run out of, you need to figure out which one you run out of. That's called the limiting reagent. The only way to do that is by comparing the amount of product that they will create. So here in question A, you've got 10 grams of carbon and 10 grams of oxygen reacting to make carbon dioxide. Which one's the limiting reagent? Which one's the excess reagent? So from carbon, you can find the number of moles of carbon dioxide. So this is from carbon. The number of moles of carbon dioxide is going to be 10.0 grams of carbon times, so to calculate this, we need to find the number of moles of carbon. So I'm going to take the mass divided by the molar mass. So 10 grams divided by 12.01 gram per mole. And that's going to give us 0.833 mole of carbon. So the number of moles of carbon will allow us to figure out the number of moles of carbon dioxide that carbon can produce if all of it reacted. So if I take 0.833 mole of carbon times, I want carbon in the bottom, carbon dioxide here, a 1-to-1 ratio, it'll be 0.833 mole of CO2 is produced from the 10 grams of carbon. Well, from oxygen, it's going to be a slightly different situation. The number of moles of oxygen is mass divided by molar mass. So again, we said it's 10 grams of oxygen, but here it's 32.00 gram per mole. So we get 0.313 mole of oxygen, or of O2. From the oxygen, you can calculate the number of moles of carbon dioxide being made. Now, some people are going to think, well, we've already calculated that. Well, we've calculated that if all the carbon reacts, but we don't know if it does or not. So we have to calculate the amount of the carbon dioxide, the product, using both chemical amounts of reactants. So if 0.313 mole of oxygen reacts, O2 goes in the bottom, CO2 goes in the top, it's a 1-to-1 ratio, then you would make 0.313 mole of CO2. Well, once you've produced this amount of carbon dioxide, you can't make any more because you've used up all the oxygen. So oxygen is your limiting reagent and carbon is your excess reagent. And so the mass of carbon dioxide produced will be N times the molar mass. So it's going to be 0.313 mole of carbon dioxide, because oxygen is my limiting reagent, times the molar mass of carbon dioxide, which is 44.01 gram per mole. And that'll give me the maximum possible mass produced. So 13.8 gram of carbon dioxide can be produced as we run out of oxygen. So for any of these questions, you're going to need to find the chemical amount of each reactant and then the chemical amount of the same product, and whichever makes the smaller chemical amount is the most possible product. This is our max yield. And that chemical is your limiting reagent. The other chemical is the excess reagent, and you're not going to actually react all of that chemical.